In a world where sequels ruled the charts, brave newcomers rose to challenge them. Stories of love beyond time, battles against fate, a noble woman with fists blessed by God himself. This is Fall 2025, a season of ambition, madness, and creativity unchained. And today, we're counting down the very best. There are anime that shout at you with explosions, and then there are shows like Dusk Beyond the End of the World, quiet, heavy, and beautiful in a way that sneaks up on you. The story opens with Akira waking up centuries after humanity collapsed, preserved by old-world technology that's now considered forbidden. The world he once knew has crumbled into a twilight wasteland patrolled by a regime terrified of anything related to his past. His only guide is Yugure, an android who resembles the girl he once loved, making every interaction feel bittersweet and uncanny. The show balances slow, melancholic moments with bursts of intense action whenever Akira and Yugure are hunted for simply existing. But it's the emotional core that steals the spotlight here. Their journey becomes a meditation on memory, attachment, and whether love can survive the erosion of time. PA Works brings an atmosphere drenched in purple dusk, giving every ruined landscape a strangely poetic beauty. It's a reflective watch, not loud, not showy, but actually deeply affecting, like reading a lost diary from a world that's already ended. Every season needs at least one anime where you stare at the screen and think, who came up with this?
なるほど。道理で魔獣に詳しいわけだ。お前が噂の魔物を食らう悪食き令嬢か。
Past the monster meat, Milady proudly carries that torch. Lady Malfira is an elegant noble woman with refined manners and a deeply questionable hobby. She loves gourmet monster cuisine. Hydras, delicious. Dragons, perfectly marbled. Goblins, well, maybe not everything works, okay? Her dream is to prove monster cooking can be a legitimate culinary art, even if the kingdom thinks she's lost her mind. Then there's Aristide, the famous blood-mad duke, who shows up expecting a normal political introduction and instead watches Malfira dissect a giant beast with the enthusiasm of a 5-star chef. Instead of running, he joins her. Their chemistry is a mix of deadpan humor, genuine admiration, and absurd monster-slaying food prep sessions that look like fantasy cooking battles. Asahi Production gives the world a pastel fairy tale look, contrasting the monstrous ingredients with charming warmth. Comedy, romance, and action blend surprisingly well, turning the strangest premise into something genuinely endearing. The monster meals feel less like shock humor and more like a bizarre, heartfelt adventure shared between two eccentric souls.
もう焼けただろう。
いえ、まだです。ひっくり返してもう一度焼きます。
何
Up next is an anime that walks the thin line between horror, romance, and quiet tragedy. This Monster Wants to Eat Me begins with Hinako, a girl who has quietly given up on life. She doesn't see a future for herself, doesn't feel connected to anyone, and genuinely thinks being eaten by a monster might be her simplest escape. But then she meets Shiori, a mermaid-like creature who appears elegant, calm, and terrifyingly devoted. Shiori promises to protect Hinako from other predators until the day she's ready to eat her. We follow a slow, dreamlike relationship that's equal parts unsettling and tender. The world feels muted, like everything is happening underwater. Long pauses, soft lightning, and intimate framing make each interaction linger. Their bond grows in a way that makes you unsure if you're watching a romance, a cautionary tale, or a gentle descent into something darker. Studio Lings adapts the atmosphere faithfully, leaning into the emotional ambiguity rather than sensationalizing it. Despite the grim premise, the show finds small sparks of hope, moments where Hinako remembers what it feels like to be seen, even by someone who might one day consume her. It's haunting, delicate, and strangely beautiful.
ほら、花火が始まっちゃいますよ。早く着替えてきてください。君を美味しくしに行きましょう。
If you've ever wanted to play as the final boss instead of beating them, this anime is your wish fulfilled.
そなたは世のことを知っているようだ。ならばこの状況、説明してもらうとしようか。世に全てを語ればよい。
A wild last boss appeared follows a veteran MMO player who, after orchestrating his own dramatic defeat for fun, suddenly wakes up as his in-game avatar, Lufas, the legendary Dark Empress. And yes, he becomes she. The world has moved on 200 years, but everyone still trembles at Lufas' name. The only problem? Her old monster generals have been running wild without supervision. The anime follows Lufas gathering her former companions, each more chaotic and overpowered than the last. Watching her deal with their absurd personalities feels like managing a group project from hell where everyone has nukes. Combat is flashy without dragging on, using ability matchups and strategy rather than raw spectacle. I like the mix of parody and sincerity. It pokes fun at power fantasy tropes while still delivering moments of genuine world building and emotional beats. Lufas's calm confidence paired with her awkwardness about her new identity gives the story surprising charm. It's a fun, fast-paced ride that knows exactly what it is and embraces it fully.
大好きな X ゲートオンラインの世界をルファスとなって歩けるのだから。
Alright, quick story time before I continue. After I got back from Japan, I discovered something important. If you want to feel like a main character, take the Shinkansen. I used Klook to book my Shinkansen from Osaka to Tokyo, and I swear, it felt like traveling at anime opening speed. You sit down and suddenly you're in a different city, wondering if you just got isekai'd. I liked it way more than flying. More space, way more chill, and if the sky gods are kind, you even get a cinematic shot of Mount Fuji on the way. The app even reminded me before departure, which saved me from missing my train while buying my 47th pack of Kit Kat. Plus, guess what? Klook gives you a 20% voucher for the Shinkansen bento boxes. That's right, food buffs and speed buffs in one ride. Japan knows how to flex. So if you're planning Japan, avoid unnecessary side quests and travel smart with Klook. And don't forget to use my code ViniiTube for a sweet discount when booking. Most heroes start young. High school prodigies, chosen children, gifted teens. Dojima, he's 40, works construction and has spent decades practicing Kamen Rider poses in his living room. And honestly, that alone makes him one of the most relatable protagonists of the season. Dojima Wants to Be a Kamen Rider is a heartfelt tribute to tokusatsu fans who never let go of childhood dreams. When criminals begin copying classic villain outfits and causing chaos, Dojima doesn't hesitate. He jumps into action with homemade gear, shaky enthusiasm, and a lifetime of passion. Instead of laughing at him, the show treats his dream with sincerity. Every transformation sequence feels nostalgic yet raw, mixing retro charm with modern animation flourishes. The fights aren't about power levels, they're about heart. Dojima gets knocked down, winded, bruised, but he stands up every time, fueled not by destiny, but by the stubborn belief that anyone can be a hero if they care enough. It's uplifting in a uniquely adult way, celebrating perseverance rather than talent. It becomes impossible not to root for this middle-aged man living his dream with everything he's got. If someone told you this anime is about the last descendant of Santa Claus in a dystopian future, you'd probably laugh, but Sanda treats its premise with bold sincerity. In this version of Japan, children's freedoms have been stripped away, traditions erased, and even Christmas outlawed. Kazushige Sanda, an ordinary student, discovers he's the final heir to the Santa bloodline. When he wears red, he transforms into a muscular, bearded warrior powered by pure holiday spirit. Science Saru animates the world with expressive energy, making winter landscapes feel oppressive yet magical. The show jumps between absurdity and heartfelt rebellion. The balance shouldn't work, but it does, creating a tone that's both humorous and quietly emotional. At its core, Sanda is about resisting systems that drain childhood wonder. It's a story of memory, rebellion, and hope disguised as a supernatural Christmas action series. Despite its bizarre exterior, it carries a surprisingly sincere message. Sometimes the most radical act is choosing to believe in joy. This anime is the definition of underestimated protagonist glow-up. When Akira and his entire class are summoned to another world, everyone celebrates the chosen hero, assuming he'll carry the kingdom to glory. Meanwhile, Akira quietly receives the assassin class. No flashy magic, no grand announcement, just skills meant for the shadows. But those stealth abilities turn out to be absurdly powerful, letting him surpass the so-called hero without anyone realizing it. Akira's journey is all about subtle execution, infiltrations, strategic battles, and clever use of underdog tools. The anime doesn't bog itself down with kingdom politics, it keeps a brisk pace as Akira uncovers corruption and handles threats before the hero even knew they exist. His deadpan reactions to dramatic situations add a layer of dry comedy that fits his personality perfectly. What makes the show enjoyable is its clear identity. It's a clean, satisfying power fantasy delivered with confidence. No pretension, no bloating, just a clever protagonist outmaneuvering everyone who underestimated him. Revenge fantasies are everywhere in anime, but few feel as cathartic as Scarlet. When this noblewoman is framed, humiliated, and dumped by her worthless fiancé, she asks for a single request, one final thing. And then she proceeds to introduce her fist to everyone who wronged her. It's shocking, hilarious, and instantly iconic. Her punches carry years of mistreatment, and the animation gives every strike weight without slipping into parody. But what really sells the series is Scarlet herself. She's not vengeful out of cruelty. She fights because she wants justice, closure, and the freedom to rebuild her life. Yes, queen! The show seamlessly weaves comedy, action, and drama into a balanced narrative, showing the emotional cost behind the spectacle. Scarlet's relationships with supporting characters adds warmth that offsets the heavier moments. The world building mixes aristocratic politics with light fantasy elements, giving Scarlet plenty of enemies to dismantle, socially and physically. As the story progresses, her journey shifts from raw retaliation to self-discovery. The show becomes more than a revenge romp. It becomes a story about reclaiming dignity.
さて、私もお祭りを始めましょうか。血祭りですけどね。Dansky Fujimoto 1726 is like someone animated a fever dream scribbled in the margins of Fujimoto's high school notebooks, then injected it with espresso and emotional trauma. This anthology stitches together several of Fujimoto's one-shots from ages 17 to 26, capturing the raw, unfiltered creativity he had long before Chainsaw Man. Each episode feels like opening a time capsule from a strange kid who grew up to become one of manga's most chaotic geniuses. One story will hit you with absurd humor, so sudden it feels illegal. The next will punch you straight through your chest with melancholic sincerity. And somewhere in the middle, you're staring at the screen wondering, am I supposed to laugh or cry? Which basically means the anime's done its job. The direction embraces Fujimoto's rougher, youthful ideas while polishing them into something cinematic, like watching a filmmaker discover his voice in real time. What makes the series brilliant is its unpredictability. You never know if the next 5 minutes will be heartwarming, horrifying, or existentially hilarious. It's messy, honest, bold, and beautifully unhinged. A perfect window into the mind of Fujimoto before he became Fujimoto. That's a list. So, what are your thoughts? What did I miss? What surprised you? Comment below and don't forget to like, share, and sub before you go. See you next time.